Good morning. We'll get started in just a moment and give everybody a chance to log in today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us today. Dave Miller, I'm president here at eMAM. I have with me Chuck Bulow. He's the VP of Business Development. We're going to wait just another minute or so. But very excited today to share our newest things about our newest version, eMAM 6.0. Beta release will be next week at the IBC show. Love to meet you there or upcoming shows, NAB New York, Broadcast India, or talk online at your convenience. We will record today's session and let us know if you would like the PowerPoint or the recording. Happy to talk to you and happy to introduce our local partners worldwide. But we're very excited to show you what's new with eMAM. So I'm going to turn it over to Chuck, and thank you for your interest today.
All right, thanks. And if you have any questions, go ahead and use the GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar portal, and go ahead and type in your questions and so on. So we're kind of packed in here with a number of new features that are coming about. Some of the patches have been added in some of the versions we have so far, but we're going to roll everything up into our 6.0 interface or new design. So first feature we're going to go over is the eMAM Next. This is a AI-powered on-prem system. This is designed by eMAM, and so our team had put together our own using the OpenAI technology and so on. So using on-prem system, very specific though. So we got to, tell you it's got to be very specific with the chipsets and the GPUs and so on, to be able to run this device or this software locally. But it's called eMAM Next, and so this provides for local media the ability to create speech-to-text summarization and title generation. So you'll use the transcript widget to view the speech to text, of course, and then it's kind of hard to see in the PowerPoint here, but then there's also in the description field, it'll give you a summary of the video itself, and then also the naming of the title will change as well. And so that will give you a little bit more descriptive information in the title as well. And again, of course, as always within eMAM, all of that information is searchable. So with it right now, we're using an HP Z2, and I'll make sure I get this right, Mini G1i. So this is an affordable system that you can run the eMAM platform, eMAM Next platform on. And then of course that works directly with your eMAM system. And then we can build workflows or help you build workflows to actually then trigger the AI service to go ahead and create the transcript and of course speech to text and title generation and summarization as well. So we're really excited about rolling this out, and it'll be available of course next week, as we mentioned, at IBC. So eMAM Next also then provides you with that transcript widget. So if some of you have looked at our AI system and seen the demo of that, that is where all of the caption files reside. And again, of course, the eMAM Next will then produce that speech to text in multiple languages as well, so that are available. So the spoken language is what the AI service then will produce this speech to text for you. Okay, next one. So we've actually launched then the new eMAM client. This is a new interface that then works with your existing interface. So Director is of course also where you produce content and so on. But eMAM Client is used more for simple browsing and preview of media. So you're able to then search for assets based on individual assets or based on category. And then if you've got users that do log into the system, so of course they have to log in, they have to have credentials. But the key thing here is that the people that log into the client interface don't take up a user license. So that's what's really, really key here. So you're able to then have this lightweight interface then for people to just quickly view media based on media that's stored in, say, a category that then that user, which is part of a user group, could then also then only see certain types of video as well, so you can do the limitations. This is also WCAG 2.1 compliant, level A and AA as well, for those of you who understand all that. Being able to be compliant and so on there. But again, lightweight, very easy for executives or just clients and so on to kind of preview media and so on within the eMAM platform. Okay, next coming up, eMAM Feeder. So we've added the ability to do a little bit more indexing of different types of media, camera cards, and so on. Specifically the R3D files and processing R3D red cameras and files there. The key thing here, though, is that you can actually index the media files from an existing source location or copy those to a different location and keep the same name of the file, which is really important on the R3D files processing and so on, instead of renaming it to the UUID. So those with camera cards and various types of red cameras and so on that you're using, we're able to then keep the same name, copy, or then keep it at the location where you've copied the files to and keep it at that source location without renaming those files. Now, what we do in this process is we use the XML ingest option, sidecar option, for the ingest of the media. And in that case, then the transcoder, whichever one you're using, then creates that proxy that's associated with all the elements of, say, the red files. And those elements then are stored in the Essence widget. So you have a proxy file, you have an asset, and then in the Essence widget will show up all of the elements. So when you do bring those into, say, Adobe Premiere, then you're able to then edit and edit all of the original red files within inside of Adobe Premiere, for example. And in one case, so we have one client, they're using Drastics NetX Convert and very inexpensive transcoder to then create that proxy. But again, the indexing of these camera files and the red files there for that new feature. Okay, People widget. So we've had this for a little bit, but we've updated it. This works with the Azure Video Indexer AI service. Okay, so you have to have the Azure Video Indexer account, and you have to have that service. You have to have availability to, your system has to have cloud-based interface or open ports to get to the Azure Indexer, Video Indexer service. You then process your media. And with that, then that media then gets stored locally in what we call the People widget. And so inside the People widget, you have now the information and stored inside of eMAM. If you find that one of the names is not made prevalent here or tagged and so on of that person, they maybe not know who that person is, you can go ahead and edit that name. And once you edit that name within the People widget, you edit that name, the library will then be updated. So the next time, say Jane Smith is seen in a video, she will show up and it'll properly then tag that person. So again, you do need Microsoft's Azure Video Indexer account. You need to then process the media through Azure Video Indexer first, and then the People widget picks up that person within the People widget, and then of course then you can go ahead and edit that that video as well. This also helps with getting rid of duplicates and so on within the video indexer. In some cases, there's duplicates of that same person within the video because maybe the face is not detected properly. So again, this can help you with deleting those duplicates as well. All right, up next, enhanced features here in the transcript widget. So what we've done is we've added the option for AWS Translate integration. So what this does is, as the media is translated, or through the AI service, you create then the caption file, from speech to text through the AI service. The translate integration, then AWS Translate, then allows you to then translate to different languages. So this is very cool. So if you have one language that's spoken within a video, I can click on this translate button and then have it actually create then a different caption file with a different language to it there as well. And so that then is asset is updated, and then the users can then select which language they want to preview based on what you've translated to or what you captured initially. So again, this is great, a great way to do some translation or get things started with translation. Depending on the accuracy and so on, you can also edit that transcript as well, and the timing of those translations within the interface. And now what we've done on the transcript side as well, we've added a more advanced search capability. Now, we have clients who have 3 to 4 hours of video, and they've done the caption file or done the speech to text or brought in a caption file. When they actually did the search, it was very, very difficult to scroll through hours and hours and pages of the text, and so the transcript. And so what we've done now is, if you type out a phrase or a name or a couple of words and so on, it'll search for that and highlight that. But then there's a second tab that you click on that will only show those items and what the time code is of each of those elements or those items that you're searching for, so phrases or words. So the idea here is that you can go in and search for particular words, like in this case, weakness or whatever it is you're searching for. It'll highlight it and go to the second tab. It'll only show those items and the time codes exactly where those words and phrases are. So it makes it a little bit easier for searching. So, all right, EBS Sports integration. So EBS Sports, of course, does all the records, the melts and everything from sports. So they record video. They record also the metadata, which has all the team information, player information, plays, exactly what went on when the game started, when a field goal or a touchdown happens, and so on. All of that metadata is stored in EBS, and then what they'll do is be able to produce in media plus an XML file. Now, what we've done is built a connector to be able to read that XML from EBS and then import that metadata into the eMAM system, and then it becomes markers or subclips and then general information about the game and so on, the players and the venues and the key plays and various things like that. Those all become markers, subclips, and general information. That then, of course, then makes it easier for you to go in and say, hey, give me all the touchdowns from last night's game with Miami and Carolina or something. So we're able to then now store that information inside and bring it in from EBS. And basically what happens is it's recorded. Once the record is finished, we read the XML and bring in the media, of course, and then create the proxy. And then again, all that metadata is then stored now inside of eMAM with the media. Okay, so that's really exciting to be able to show that. ServiceNow. So for those of you who are not familiar, ServiceNow is a way of which you can store and look for media inside the ServiceNow system and so on. So you can customize and build these types of systems and CRMs and so on. Now, what we've done is, actually one of our clients required this, but we built this connector with ServiceNow with a portal, custom portal. And within ServiceNow, I can actually look inside of ServiceNow, find content and the metadata, of course, that I'm looking for, and then hit a button to actually then bring that media, a copy of that media and the metadata with sidecar information, of course, bring it over into the eMAM system, and then of course now that metadata and the media is now stored inside of eMAM and completely searchable. So again, this is a custom portal that we do. If you do use ServiceNow and so on, or that type of platform and so on, we can then pull that information, media and metadata from that system over into the eMAM system. So quite nice there. All right, eBin. So eBin is a great way to share content with others internally or externally, being able to then create playlists of viewing within a browser. And so with that list, people can go in and I can put in their video, audio, images, documents into eBin and then share it with you on a link. Now, typically what we did before was we just had thumbnails, and those thumbnails were kind of hard to read and see the different information about each of those assets that are going out in a link for others to preview. And so what we did was we added now a list view with the media and the metadata and the duration, the sizes and things like that, and the type of media that it is that's going out. So it's a little bit easier now to see that those assets and see what's going out in a link to others. And then of course, once they like the order, so you can drag and move up or down those assets or remove those assets from the list. And so it makes it a little bit easier then to kind of preview before it goes out, and you create that link and then you send it out in an email or send an email directly from the eMAM system with that link to the media. They click on the link and then they see that list that you've created for them as a rundown. So quite nice there to be able to do that, see that. Okay, so marker information. So we can metadata yourself to death if you'd like. We've added marker information for not only the asset, for the projects, for the category, for subclips, and now markers. Now we have the ability in a marker. I could add a marker of a video asset and click on that asset or that marker, and then add additional metadata to that marker. So you have the general information of metadata about the asset, but then on the marker that you've created at the time code, I can then add more metadata. And then at that point, I can then search off that metadata that's stored there. So thinking about like the EBS we were just talking about, a lot of that metadata could come back and more information could be added to the marker itself and metadata, and then search specifically about that marker. So it makes it a little bit easier to search and find. And of course, on our searches, you can do exact match, contains this word, or all these words, or any of these words. So full text search. And then we also, by the way, do have a thesaurus that you can build your own based on dialect or different meanings and so on. So again, a little bit more advanced on the searching for metadata within markers. We've added also now a confirmation. So in the past, people have accidentally moved assets or assigned assets from one category to another, clicked the archive button, didn't realize they did that, and moved assets or deleted assets and so on. So in each of those cases now, what we've done is we've added a confirm window that pops up. And so there's no more mistakes of simply just dragging or dropping or clicking restore or archive and things like that without it prompting you and say, are you sure you want to go ahead and archive this asset or delete the assets or move projects or archive the projects and so on. So mainly, for archiving and so on, but we will prompt you first before you do that. So that's all brand new. Audio playback. So this is also something very, very specific in codecs and various things. So of course we are a MP4 H.264 proxy playback. So in certain cases, assets are being able that are coming into the system. The transcoder can extract for us the audio tracks, individual discrete audio tracks, and we can separate those out actually in eMAM in the proxy preview. So then users can go in and select the tracks that they'd like to listen to. So you can actually go in up and down if you've got multiple tracks, like 16 tracks of audio. You can go in and select which ones. I'm not I can't remember exactly the amount that a proxy, H.264 proxy will hold. I'm not sure if it's 16 or 32, but we can check on that for you. But basically, within the preview widget, and then going through the gearbox, opening up the menu there for options, you can then go in and select then the tracks that you'd like to listen to. So we can also then set as a default the stereo playback as well. So that's also a default we can add for you as well, or you can add. All right, enhanced filters. So on the system where you had topics, entity, and summary, DeepGram had this where there's providing more information about an asset and so on. So it's an AI service like DeepGram, for example. It provides a list of topics that are associated with your video, let's say, and then entities, and then also the summaries. Now within the advanced search widget, the manage filters, you can actually go in and click on that and say, I'm looking for these particular topics, and then have those assets show up in the search. So again, using the manage filter option in advanced search, you can go in and then select topics or entity or summary there as well. So that's also brand new. All right, one other thing we did add to the transcript widget, turn on and turn off OCR text. Some of the AI services offer a service where they'll say, I'm going to give you also information about what's printed on the screen. So it'll do an OCR text within that transcript, and you'll see T for text. And in some cases, people are getting kind of annoyed with having the text show up as well as the transcript. So we have now an option to be able to turn that on or turn that off. So that's also new. We've just now added. So, all right, dynamic asset filtering. So in the case of seeing results within the browser widget, a lot of people were looking for, hey, if I'm looking for this particular category in the category widget, I want to click on that, and then I want you to show me everything that's within that category in the browser widget. So this is new where if you have in your workspace category widget and browser widget open, and you're able to then to go in and search and find, or just scroll down and click on a particular category, and in the browser widget, it'll show you then the subcategories that are there and any individual assets that are stored in that main category you just selected. So then what you're able to do then is click on, say, final here or training videos. I would then see what's under training videos, or I'd see what's under final. So it makes it a little bit easier to kind of see what the assets that are associated with a project, quite quickly be able to go in, find that project, click on that category, and then see the results inside the browser widget. So it helps you quickly go in and find those assets based on projects and so on. So, all right, in the dashboard, we have now added the ingest profile used. Now, what some clients in eMAM have is multiple ingest profiles based on maybe the type of user that's ingesting media or the type of media that's being ingested. It may have to run through a different transcoder or different process or stored in different locations. In the dashboard now, you'll be able to go in and then search for and find all of those search based on that filter name, or the ingest profile name. So you can type in ingest profile name, like in this case here, ingest to S3, for example. I could go in and find in all of those processes of ingest that are happening right now and what the status is of those assets. So if I have issues, like in this case here, I had issues using the FFmpeg ingest, and it'll show me an error. So I could go in and search for FFmpeg ingest and then see that maybe that server's offline or something's going on with the storage and so on. But again, you can now divide up what the ingest profile was used in that case, and then see what's going on there. All right. chunk data sending up. So we had a lot of customers who had issues with bandwidth at their location and being able to upload large files. And what was happening was too much was going up at one time, and then it would fail or have issues with the bandwidth that they were using. So in the chunk, setting up the data chunk settings and part size, and then the queue size and so on, I could limit that amount of information going up into the eMAM system from a particular location, like if you're at a coffee shop and uploading, and maybe they have a very limited bandwidth and so on. I could limit then that size going up into the eMAM system, and then be able to control that a little bit, so then you're not trying to throw up as much as you can, and then of course the bandwidth can't handle it, and then you get errors and different things like that, so, or issues with that. So this helps you with improving your fast uploads. And then of course, if you have a better, like in my office, I have fiber, so I can actually upload a lot more at one time and be able to process more media at one time. So again, you can change that size up or down to help you in the situation based on your bandwidth. So, all right, managing categories. So what was happening was in some cases where we had people who had created categories, and they were about to upload all the media, and they forgot to add a media, let's say a media category before they're going to upload all this media. So in that case, they would have to go back to the director and then add a category, and then come back to the ingest, and then see that category and then assign the media to that category. In this case now, inside of say feeder or the ingest widget, and you get to that point, you get to, in this case here, like August 2023, I forgot to add the media category. So I could actually click on the box next to August 2023, and then go ahead and add a category, and then add properties to that category as well if I'm an admin there. So if I forgot to add the media, let's say I'm uploading a bunch of media and a bunch of folders and so on, I can then go ahead and add that category inside of feeder or inside of the ingest profile, and then be able to then add that category, and then of course assign that media to it. So helps out in that situation. All right, integration with Avid. Again, we go in and we try to do as much as we can with the Avid API in the panel. So currently today we have the ability to import media, you know, and be able to then export from, say, Media Composer back into the eMAM system using feeder, being able to then upload media into a finished media, a rendered sequence back up into the eMAM system. So that's currently today. We've also added the ability to take in markers. So if you go into the eMAM system and add markers or subclips, we can then import those into the Media Composer. Those will show up inside of the preview or monitor opening or window there, and then be able to see then the in and marker points and in and out points for the subclips there as well. So that's new. All right, again, we keep trying to add more and more as possible for the panels for the Adobe side. So what we've done is on After Effects, if you're using After Effects with Adobe Premiere, we will also upload the files with the Premiere export up into the eMAM system, so they'll be linked. And then basically at that point, when somebody checks out that project, once they export it back up into the eMAM system, then they will be able to see then the motion graphics and the effects and so on of After Effects inside of that project there. So again, the dynamic linking and then being able to keep those links with the After Effects files back up into the Premiere system there. So again, you can select that as a default within the panel settings. So that's brand new there. Also being able to link using the link function and link proxies. So you're able to then, and we'll go over this in a second here, but be able to use the link option and say, hey, you know what, this media I know is stored in eMAM. but it's not linked, I can link it with media that's inside of eMAM. And so in some cases, what was happening was somebody would have a file, have a name locally, and they imported it locally in their system, but it's already linked and that file's already in the eMAM system. What we can do is then add and say, hey, you know what? That file you're about ready to upload into the eMAM system is already there. So what we're going to do is link then that media instead of the local one. We're going to link it with the asset that's already stored inside of the eMAM system. And so this helps you then reduce duplication. So again, this linking process can happen when you're exporting the files, and then you hit the link button and then find the assets that are already in the MAM system and then link it with the asset you imported locally. And so you're not getting duplicate errors there as well. Also, what we've done too in Premiere, so originally what happened was you would import and you'd be asked or check out the project and then bring it locally or import it locally to your local workstation. You were asked, do you want the proxy media linked or do you want the original media linked? And so what we've done now is we have a toggle that we've added, or using the toggle within the Adobe Premiere, you're able now to switch back and forth quickly, even after you've checked out the project. You can link back with the original copy of the media versus, say, the proxy copy. So if you were to check out the project, select proxy, you started working in proxy and you go, hey, you know what? I want to link now back with the original because I'm finished here. So now you can just click that button within the window within the inside of Adobe Premiere, and then it toggles now back over to the original media. So again, you can start switching back and forth, but most would probably edit in proxy and then switch over to the original content and link your project and your media to the originals files. Also with the bin creation, so again, when you are inside of a project and then you want to then go ahead and import a category and a subcategories of media that are stored inside of eMAM, through the panel then I can select those, and then with that then I can select where I want that media to go, and then we'll automatically create those bins for you within the project file or project that you have going on. So again, you're in Premiere, you find a bunch of assets that were imported and brought in to the eMAM, you go to the category tab and you say, I want to import all this media based on the category structure, and I want you to create a bin for me. So again, I can create and add to an existing bin and then create that hierarchy there as well. So quite easy to bring in media and so on. This one here is specifically for After Effects. So again, if you'd like to rename rename the UUID buttons and go back to the original names and so on, we can do that as well. We had mentioned that earlier, but being able to then, with those assets, bring in the media and have the original names show up versus the UUID. So it kind of helps improve the situation with naming. So you're not seeing the UUIDs, but you're seeing the original corresponding titles with that media within the After Effects, program or within the editing of After Effects as well. So that's quite unique there. And then we have, of course, also relinking option. This relinks again with After Effects and the elements and the assets and so on. Being able to relink with the source media and so on. So if you have issues with, linking back with the existing files or files that are stored inside of eMAM, again, this gives you the ability to kind of relink with those assets and then store those. And then, of course, when you're exporting back up to the eMAM system, everything will be linked properly there as well. Last one here, Cutting Room integration. So if you haven't heard about Cutting Room, check it out. It's a online cloud-based editor and used for a lot of news or short clips and so on, videos and various things, but long form, a little short form, more short form, I think is what they're pitching. But anyways, I'll let them talk to you about that. But what we're doing now is we're building in a what's similar, what would be like a panel in Adobe. We're going to build that now also for Cutting Room. So if you have a Cutting Room account, you can open up Cutting Room, and then through the configuration tool or advanced tools that they have, you can actually then connect then with your eMAM system and say in the cloud. So this could be a complete cloud-based editing. So upload all the media into the cloud, put it in S3, and then from there, Cutting Room then creates a rolling proxy for you to view within their application to edit. But then when we do some transcoding or sending out to say YouTube or back to S3 or other social media accounts and so on, they deliver then to those different accounts that you have. So you're able then to view the media that's inside of eMAM that may be stored in S3. Well, actually, it should be stored in S3, and then be able to then edit that content. But again, they produce then a quick proxy for on the fly for you, and then you're able to then edit that content, and then either send it back to eMAM as a sequence in a new asset, or go ahead and deliver it right to, say, YouTube. For example, they have options in 4 different social media deliveries. So quite easy and a great way to just do all cloud-based editing, lots of key features and so on. And also, if you're at IBC, check them out there as well. All right. David, coming to the end here, but these are the upcoming shows. So IBC, as David mentioned, is next week on the 12th through the 15th of September. And then, of course, NAB show October, I think it is. In October, we'll be in New York there as well. And so with that, Dave, I think we'll go to questions, or if there's any questions for us to answer.
Great, thanks a lot. Let me handle a few while people get a chance to type in other questions. A lot of detailed information, so happy to run through separate sessions and show you the details of some of those new features. You know, some are improvements on current workflows, so they're you know, best to handle one at a time. The 2 exciting ones, the client interface, which is great for people with accessibility issues, and also helps with your user count. So the client users wouldn't count against your user count. And so if you want to share with a lot of people, give you some great options. And then eMAM Next, which is built on our transcript widget, and then add more tools and features. Basically, it's going to be beta for the next month or 2. So new customers looking to try it out, it'll be the transcript widget and eMAM Next will be free until the end of the year. And if you already have a transcript widget, we'd love for you to try it. The only 2 requirements, you give us feedback, and you're going to need that specific HP Z2i workstation to use it, because it's very dependent on that workstation. So folks have been asking us for a while to do an on-premise AI for which they have complete control, and nothing ever goes into the cloud, et cetera. And so it's exactly that. Future versions will have faces and logos and everything else, but the face transcript, one of our favorite partners for that kind of tools is Microsoft Azure. So, because it can identify, it can detect and identify faces and names, and you don't need to put the media into their cloud on a permanent basis. You can send a link, it can send us back the information, and then it won't linger there in their system, and it'll just linger in our database. So there's that. And also we talked about ServiceNow. I mean, we did Boomi some while back. Apache is an option for orchestrating workflows and doing complicated ones, and we're talking with Embrace as well. So a bunch of options there, but I think we've answered most of the questions. happy to give you a demo and introduction, et cetera, about new things going on, and give us some feedback and what else we need to do both in eMAM Next and then in our system. Love to give you feedback on how to make your workflows better. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you at the upcoming show, talk online. We'll be announcing our Broadcast India partners soon, in addition to the current shows, and IBC will be starting next week. So thanks again for your interest, and have a great day. Thank you so much.